I think we've,
Are you, can I ask another one?
yeah.
Are you requesting for this to be in kind or?
It would be
An
nice
in-kind
that we
donation?
wouldn't have to use our public charity funds for anything, but either way, we want it approved, we want to do it with your approval. We are a public charity, and if you're not familiar with us, we are your boots on the ground, going to all the homeless camps and doing all that we do in the neighborhood. Just got done feeding all the shut-ins in Muncie today, as we have a food ministry as well. So we are a 501c3.
Okay. And what is your name again, sir?
Shepherd's Heart and Hands is our ministry. I'm Pastor Joseph Romero, and my wife is Kathy Romero.
Any other discussion? Essentially got two pieces here, the event itself and then the decision on the either in-kind or request fees for the normal fee schedule for the stage. Discussion on the stage fee or an in-kind support. What's thoughts or opinions there? Discussion?
I think the stage, like we've been doing with everybody else, need to pay the rental fee, but
Yep.
I don't see anything wrong with the donation if people want to support it. It is a ministry and a charity event, so.
All right. So I would entertain a motion to approve the event with the fee structure that we've got set in place for them to cover the fees associated with the stage.
I'll move it.
Move. Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Any other events, Carl? So I did have a note here from last month. We had the East Central Neighborhood Association, the concerts, and we'd approved the first one in June. And they had another one earmarked for July 9th. I did not attend or hear any feedback, positive or negative, on the first one. And I don't know if they're still requesting for the second one.
I know we haven't been asked right from Nikki's desk in the office, always look at them, but they are posted up there with all the information.
Okay.
If we approve it, it's just posted right there. for us.
Yeah.
It's usually for us to go with it, look and see what kind of setup we got.
Well, they were asked to come back and report on it.
Yeah, I don't know if we held anybody accountable or had a person contact that who needed a report, but I had my note that we wanted a report, so I don't know if we didn't specify where that was coming from. I think there's a couple ways we can handle that, is we can assume that they don't need the event if they're not here. Maybe they think that it was just automatically on the agenda. We could also approach it that if we give Carl and Nikki the task of going back and reviewing the event, and we could approve or deny it contingent on their review and their discretion, would be one way to handle that.
Who are we talking about?
This was the East Central Neighborhood Association. They had 3 small concerts scheduled.
Oh, okay.
Looks like Washington Park, no vendors. They estimated 40 people. Had one that was on June 11th, July 9th, and August 13th from 6 to 8. We approved the first date, but did not approve the other 2 dates.
Do we know how the first one went? Do we have any feedback from that?
I would hope no news is good news, but I would hate to assume that.
Yeah, we didn't get any, we get a phone call.
There's bad news.
I would say,
So I think I would be comfortable with approving this contingent, their review of the event. I'd hate if they had a good first event for them to not be able to hold the second because it slipped through the cracks here.
I'll make that motion.
Motion. Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. Carl, you and Nikki follow up on that one and let them know that the July's approved. It would be nice to have a review in the July month so we can approve or move forward on the August event. Next on the agenda, we've got the Prairie Creek report. I don't see, oh, Tawny is back there.
She's hiding today.
I know, you're not in your normal seat.
Hello, board.
Aye.
What?
Okay, so we've been pretty busy out there. We've had a couple really awesome events. We've been raising money for the veterans. I know AMVETS Post 12, they had their event. I think they made 5,000, and the Jeep event was last weekend, the weekend before. It was awesome. I was able to make it to both events this year, and they were incredible. I had a lot of fun. They also made 5,000 for the veterans here in the city. So those are pretty cool. That was the second year that we've had the Jeep event out there. We moved it from the beach parking lot over to the airplane field this year. It was awesome. So there's room for that to grow. We've been planning for Ironman and Ron Bottom Days. Carl's been helping me with a lot of that. Some of the things I hadn't done before that I didn't know how to handle. He's been teaching me a lot, so I'm very thankful for that. Him and Kelly have been out meeting all the new members, our seasonal employees, and I actually have one of my security guards here tonight, Brian. He's our main security person. He's been amazing. But yeah, so we've been preparing for Ironman. I think that's all taken care of. Shannon's helped me with lifeguards. I think we have everything that we need set up for that, and I've been working with all their team members. And for Ron Bonham Days, I think we're gonna try, and we've been like kind of learning the health codes and stuff to limit how many people are inside of the campground. We're gonna get a clicker and kind of try and keep that down this year. Our team is gonna stop traffic at a certain point, so I would make sure that the public is aware of that. We will start cutting people off. We can't have too many people in there. It's a health concern. It's a safety concern. I have worked with Muncie Fire. We're gonna have an ambulance, it's like a golf cart off-road ambulance inside the campground. And then we're also gonna have the ambulance over at the beach area, just for additional support, just because the amount of people in it. It grew pretty large last year. And we wanna be prepared in case we have another large turnout this year. We've also been preparing for me to go on leave. I'll probably make sure that everybody has like the contact of who to reach out to for certain things while I'm gone. I've made a list. I have all the girls kind of doing a little piece of my job instead of expecting one person to learn it all really quick. So we have multiple girls that are stepping up, and guys as well that are gonna take certain things to do while I'm gone. We got internet down at the beach so that we can start using credit cards and debit cards for concessions now. We were kind of behind times and only taking cash the last few years. Yesterday we were able to have IT set up that internet. So they've been training how to use our system, and so now you can use cards down there. I think that's pretty much what we've been doing. I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions on the large events that we're getting ready to have, or maybe some questions on the events we just did.
Any questions for Tony?
Yeah. How many people are you allowed in the campground, and how are you gonna do that since, like, say some people have campsite and boat?
Yeah,
And there,
we're
I mean,
gonna- We want to remind people to keep a limit to the amount of people allowed at their campsites, which I believe is 10. I'm pretty sure it's what we put in the rules. We are going, one of the girls had printed off how many for the acreage. It was really hard to figure out how many to allow in there because it could go off of different things. It can go off of how many bathrooms you have. It can go off on how much room you have. I don't have an exact number, but we are going to just use that clicker, and once we get to that number that they have.
What will that
written down-
number be?
I'm not 100% sure.
Because are you gonna make that aware to the campers and
Yeah.
boaters? When are you gonna do that?
We can probably do that by the end of the week. We kind of went back and forth on it a little bit on which number to go off of, but we don't want it just completely crowded, so. But I can get that to you by the end of the week.
Well, that is our crowdest weekend of the
Yeah,
entire year, because everybody comes
it's
out
still
for
gonna be
fireworks.
crowded. We just don't want to where you can't move and the ambulance can't get in and out like before.
We're
Or
gonna
them
have both
blocking the
entrances though,
road.
right?
Huh?
We're not gonna have the same issue as last year, right?
We are
We're gonna have it
shutting
in
down.
and out.
We are going to shut down, one of the entrances, the police. have
Last
asked
year, the fire department asked for that entrance to be open because they're supposed to be in and out.
The police
And
had
that
to
was the
shut it
problem
down.
with
Yeah.
getting that ambulance in last year. They couldn't get in because that other gate was padlocked shut.
Yeah, the police had asked us to shut it down. That's why that happened. The police had always ran the traffic, not us. They take over traffic with that, and they had asked us to close that because then it's gonna it could cause a wreck. People are trying to come one way, like people are coming out one gate and trying to take off one way or this way, and that's why they had asked us to close it. We will have somebody there to open it for an ambulance if they need to come and go. And this year, we are gonna be able to communicate with them and have a walkie where I'll communicate with both police and fire and ambulance so that there's just one contact instead of people just calling everywhere and nobody being able to. So I'll be able to contact my staff, and then I'll be the main contact for my staff, and then they'll do the same thing. Police and fire will do the same. And then just the people who are the main contacts will be able to communicate with each other. There was not very good communication set up last year for us to be able to do that. But I think we've got a good plan this year, and we did address it in the
Well,
meeting.
in the past, I mean, both those gates have always been open, and that's alleviated it doesn't plug right there doesn't ever shut the bridge down, and so I think the one entrance and exit that's what plugged the bridge up from to the south, going by the bait house.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's something we could just.
I know the fire department was very upset that they could not get the emergency equipment in because we only had one way in, because they can't go around anybody. Once that road gets full, they can't go around anybody because there's a bridge and then there's guardrails on both sides. So
I mean, we can just,
I would say if we could
but
open the big side, not the little side. If you're gonna have one open, we got 2 lanes over on the north side where the shack is not. I mean, you got room for 2 lanes there. And the other entrance, we do not.
I mean, I could discuss it with the police, but I would want to take it farther with the police, just because they're the ones guiding the traffic, and I want to keep it safe. I would want to include them in that discussion, just because
Yep.
I trust their plan.
Fire and police.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's worth having another
Maybe
discussion.
coordinate,
yeah.
the two.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend that we, for our list, that we can add 10 things. Safety was on there, and then we should coordinate with families. I call and get a plan.
Because like I said, the other side has room for 2 lanes. So there's can always be an in and an out.
And I
Versus
do
the other
agree with
side,
that.
it's 1 lane.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we'll do, and then we'll get that back to the board ASAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Discuss that tomorrow.
I do have concerns with not allowing people in at a certain number, because a lot of people have family come in from out of town for this. And if they don't get in, we've got people paying leases on their spots, and
I don't want to stop anybody from going to their spots. I just don't want people parked in the road where nobody can get in and out.
So
I
really, it's
don't-
more of a managing,
Traffic.
traffic and
Yeah.
access and parking. I guess, to highlight where are the overflow or the adjacent parking spots? I assume we can use the office, we've got the normal parking lot.
Yeah.
Are we using the airplane lot as parking as well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, maybe there should be some parking information provided to campers, like here's the overflow parking.
Yeah.
So
If
there's
they,
some-
if they are there to see somebody that has a spot, we're not gonna deny them going in because they're gonna be on their actual, like an actual spot. Our concern is mostly just other, like the public parking off the road. But if you're there to see somebody, we're not gonna stop you from going in. We've actually talked about how we could do like a pass, like passes to hand out to people. We don't have time to do it now, but that's something we'd like to do next year, like maybe so many, like a ticket or something to put in your window, that we could give the campers so that we're like, okay, these people go with, they have a campsite and, then have an idea too of how many people are gonna be there with them. That's something we've discussed. It's just not something we're gonna be able to do this year with such little time. But we have kind of talked about how to manage people going to the campsites as well.
And then I did want to say, Saturday night, somebody drove up by the playground and did some donuts, and Clinton Hornbeck and his son on Sunday morning took their golf carts and rakes and all that and went down there and did as much repair as they could to them. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you to them
Yes.
for trying to fix the park for,
Thank you. Absolutely. We've had, a lot of people have been giving me information about who's doing what. They're coming with, our bathrooms have been getting destroyed, and thanks to the campers, because we're not always out there to see it. The campers have come and told me who's been destroying the bathrooms. We had some teenage girls put a bunch of socks into the toilets, so that made, we had to have staff come out on a Saturday night, and it took about 2 hours to come and fix that because it was overflowing. But the campers have been doing pretty well of giving me feedback on what's going on, and we've been addressing it. We send them, we contact them by phone. We keep track of those phone calls. We have a call log. We write them letters as well, and we put them in their files. And at three, if you're getting like 3 things that you've like broken rules on, we're gonna start addressing it with legal and probably removing you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tawny? Do you have any events for approval?
I have 3. But we will start working, me and Carl will contact them and see if we can talk again
okay,
about
because the notice for the water thing was short, but everybody got a notice on their door.
Yeah, so it was,
And then actually the campers start calling other campers, so.
yeah, so that's actually never failed before. The campground one has never failed. We didn't want to leave anybody drinking bad water for a week.
Yeah.
So it had to be short notice. We needed to get that
Yeah,
taken
well,
care of
that's what I
pretty
told
quick.
people, but I mean,
Yeah.
you did a good job
We
with the
do
short notice.
apologize that that was short, but it was either have people drinking bad water for a few days, because not everybody can get those notices. Everybody finds out information in different ways, and even if we did Facebook and letters and everything, somebody wasn't gonna know. So we did it as quickly as we could, and we tried
Well, I
to,
know everybody's neighbors helped everybody's neighbors. so-
everybody, yeah, they're
Yeah,
amazing.
so it
when
pretty much got done.
Yeah, so it did come back good. They came and retested it, it was good. It's never failed before ever, so that was the first time. So we didn't even know how to go about doing it, but I think we
Yep.
did pretty good for trying to figure it out. The first one that I have, this one is actually during Ron Bonham days. They've reserved the beach shelter. The reason that they're asking for is just because it's going to be like 50 to 100 people. It is a celebration of life. over at the shelter closest to the beach. They're not asking for anything. I think they want extra trash cans, but I've already got extra trash cans for the event in that area. So they're just asking for approval for a celebration of life, 50 to 100 people.
What's the time on that?
This is going to be 10 to 7.
On which day?
July 5th.
Where again? The beach?
Yeah. In the grass area, close to the basketball court.
Will they have any vendors there?
They will not. They're gonna bring food from home. Like everybody's gonna bring a dish, and they're gonna have games set up in the yard. And
Is that a rentable space?
yeah, they did
Okay.
rent it.
So they've already filed the rental application, and this is just for the excess capacity for the
Yes.
event.
Will we have parking during that day for this event?
I mean,
Realistically, from what you've experienced?
it's gonna be full. But I think they
So-
kind of. I'm sure they're pretty aware of that.
Okay, well,
We have a concert down there that day, and
yeah.
it isn't.
As long as we have overflow parking at the airplane grass,
Yeah.
But
I
how
think we
far
would
of
be
a walk
fine.
Is that?
How
How far of a walk is that?
people do it at Ironman.
Yeah.
You just gotta walk around the cove.
Yep.
Okay, is it like half a mile?
I would say maybe a quarter.
Probably a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a concert, people will be at the beach, and we'll have this celebration of life. So how many people right there are we talking about at the same time? Numbers wise?
I don't know. I think there's 16,000 in the whole reservoir last year.
What time's the concert start?
I want to say, was it like 2?
People kinda come and go on the concert, so there's a lot of golf cart traffic for that.
Yeah, they're gonna start at 10, so they'll probably take up a lot of that parking before other people start coming.
From my notes, we had 21,000 people at Ron Bonham Days last year.
So it might have been 16 the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we increased by about 5,000. But I think something happened with the in-town shutdown last year. Something happened that caused more people to come out.
Could we ask them to perhaps reschedule on a different day? Just because of what we were talking about before, traffic, logistics.
I could ask them. They booked the shelter, though. I don't know how they could feel about it. But I could explain to them again, like, hey,
10 to 7 is like prime time as well. You know, I just, on a weekend date, I think it's,
my preference wouldn't have been to book it on that day.
Would be what?
I said my preference wouldn't have been to book something on that day, but I don't know. Maybe they were using the event as another way to
yeah.
kind of
I-
celebrate. I don't know.
fun, but-
It's gonna be packed no matter what, so. And that's not gonna deter people from coming out, that we're coming out anyway.
I know, but it's adding another 50 to 100 people, all those cars, it just, we're not doing ourselves any favor security-wise by saying, yeah. So, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I've got the same concerns that Shannon does. I guess, my other thought is that if we don't formally approve the event, they have reserved the shelter, and what are we gonna task Tawny and Carl and law enforcement to do if they still have their event? At that point, it's it puts them in a tough spot, I think, is it separate from the Ron Bonham event at that point, that they're all just gathering for the Ron Bonham event, or are they having their celebration of life event? I mean,
Well, I mean, if we're gonna do that, we shouldn't offer shelters for rent on holiday weekends.
Yeah.
that was gonna be my follow-up, is I think we need to review that and look at that.
I mean, and they've already put the application in, so.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, my biggest concern with it was, I'm out there every year, I see how it goes. There's nobody really in that, like, people will set up, but it's not a whole bunch of people in that area where they're gonna be. It's gonna be the parking is gonna be the biggest issue. But people do set up in the grass over there, but it's not a whole bunch of people. Mostly people who are there for the concert, but it's not super crowded in the grass where they're gonna be. Just the extra parking
Yeah.
is what would be a concern. Most people go closer to the campgrounds, so.
I would,
The people isn't
personally ask
huge
to
crowd.
revoke that, to revoke, just, say, I'm sorry, the shelter's not available. Per the Parks Board, decision, we're not renting out any shelters that weekend.
That is an option as well.
Is there anything else rented in the park that weekend?
I'm sure both shelters are rented. I'm sure all the shelters are rented.
Yeah, so we'd have to institute that across the board and say that they're, I think moving forward, I think we're all on the same page that holiday weekends, the shelters need to be first come, first served, non-reservable, I think is where we're leaning. And maybe we have that discussion at a later time, but we've got an immediate situation that we have to figure out how to handle on this one.
With the reservation of the shelter, how many people did they have to use the shelter?
I think it fits 25 to 40. I think some people say 40, but I wouldn't say it fits over 25.
I think 40 is our official number on that
That's what
shelter.
we've said, but I think that's kind of being generous.
Yep.
And they said how many for this special request outside?
50 to 100, but I don't know if it's a come and go. I don't know if it's going to be everybody there all day. I don't really have that information.
You said it's from 10 in the morning to 7 at night?
Correct. So it could be so many people here and there. Some people do that. Some people have all of them the whole day. Every event's kind of different. Every family or whatever group of people.
Could we ask, since Brian is here, could we just get his,
Yeah.
2 cents?
Come on up, security.
Since you've been out there, sir,
He'll-
maybe you could advise us.
He's probably like, yeah, this is a job for me.
So, last year, that was a crowded area with the concert down there. The beach area was full by the parking. You have over there on the one side, going south, they do, camp, or they'll start setting up tents. That starts around 4. I'm kind of agreeing with you. You're just asking for more because the concert, you got Cook-a-Miller down there, that draws in a huge crowd. You're adding more in that area. Now, you will have officers down there, but, the parking was crazy because you look at the beach area parking, it's not that much. You got the gravel and then they start parking in the grass, so that's all you got.
So it's not guided parking, they just kind of
No.
find a spot and.
No, it was tight. It was very tight down through there. So maybe they can, it's a celebration of life and I don't want to be the bad guy here, but maybe maybe out by 4, maybe give them an option, that way they can still have it. But it is tight. It's going to be tight.
This may be a dumb question, but do they know what the area is going to be like that day? If they don't know, they may, when they learn, they may decide maybe this isn't what we want to do.
Anyway, yeah.
So maybe we can give them that option. Maybe you can talk to them and just let them know this is what's going on this day. One option is you can be out by 4. cleared out by 4 when traffic gets too busy, or reschedule for another weekend?
I think that's actually a good idea, maybe cutting it a little bit shorter.
I mean, that way you'd be out because I remember it was stuck in my head from last year. 4 o'clock, it starts picking up and it just gets, each hour it's getting worse and worse. So, I mean, the traffic will pick up around 4 o'clock.
Maybe like 3, that'll give
So-
people time to clean and.
10 to 3 is 5 hours. I mean, that's still,
Do we have anybody here to speak about this event? I guess we talked about it a lot. I hope they would have spoke up, but I want to make sure I ask. Okay, no. All right, thank you.
Thank you very
No
much,
problem.
Brian.
So kind of the discussion I'm hearing is that we're looking to shift the time of the event to be done by
3?
I'd say 3.
3
Yeah.
o'clock.
That sounds pretty reasonable, actually.
Or
Or
reschedule,
reschedule.
Or reschedule.
Okay.
Weekend.
different weekend.
And I think we would be open to flexing that earlier if there's some reason they want it for that duration. If they wanted to start at 8 or 9, I think we'd be open to that as well.
Absolutely.
So, any further discussion?
I think we need to remember to bring up shelters being non-reservable on holidays.
Yes.
At some future meeting.
We would have to add that to the rules, right?
I think that could be just a policy, but we'd want to make sure we got it posted and update our online portals and make sure it's blocked out in that, but I don't know that that's a rule that we would have to approve. It's just a policy, internal policy. Any other discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to, motion to approve the Celebration of a Life event from 10 to 3 p.m. and provide them with some details on what that day all entails and be open to a reschedule.
Should they decide to just reschedule, do they need to come back before us, or we're gonna just have that already? How would we do that?
I guess with that, I would, assuming there's not another conflict, I would approve the event at a later date as well, a rescheduled date.
If they were willing to, there's always down the road where there's not really anybody at, we have another shelter. It's kind of, it's the Rock Shelter. I think you're familiar with it, Shannon, but it's farther away from the crowd. It's kind of at the southeast side. There's always that as well. And nobody's gonna be there for the event because of the trees, you can't see fireworks
It's out of
in there
sight,
anyway. So I can offer that as well.
So, entertain a motion to approve 10 to 3 at the beach shelter with the reschedule of location or date as a pre-approval.
Move.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Tony, you'll reach out to them this week on that one?
Yeah, I'll reach out tomorrow morning.
Great, thank
And
you.
I'll keep you guys updated as well. My next one is for a baptism. It's gonna be multiple churches, or pastors, coming together. She don't have an exact number. She thinks it'll grow, but at least 40 people. They're wanting the beach area, to do it. It's gonna be on July 12th. Well, that one might not work either. This one's gonna have to be rescheduled as well.
Because that's Iron Man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They'll be pretty okay with changing because they don't have all their details anyway, and they don't even know how many people are coming or what churches they're doing. So she wasn't so sure. She just wanted to get something in.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to her. But so let's try this one. Friday, August 22nd. It's a bass fishing tournament. He's going to be very happy he's getting approved. It's going to be 8 boats. They're not asking for anything. They've done it before. They have insurance as well to cover the event. They don't need security. It's just the 8 boats, but they're just asking to be allowed out fishing on their boats through the night. It's going to be midnight till like 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And they've done this several years.
Mhm.
correct? What group is this?
Well, this is the Fall Creek Valley Bassmasters. I want to say they are, I'm trying to remember where they said they were from when I've talked to them, but I want to say that they're from Newcastle, but I could be wrong.
And do they purchase, or do they purchase like a boat
We do require any,
Okay, good.
but yeah.
The launch fees.
and the launch fee and all that? Okay.
Any other questions on the August 22nd bass fishing?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any other events, Tony?
That's all I have. If you guys have any questions for me, I know that was a lot.
Questions for Tony?
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll keep in touch with the board as well about traffic for that
Okay.
event and the public.
I have a quick
Thank you,
question for
guys.
Shannon, maybe.
I'm sure I'll get lots of calls on that tonight.
Do we have enough lifeguards trained for both, what we have, the Y and Prairie Creek for?
Yes.
I know I seen a thing out saying that we were looking for more, so I don't know if we had that filled.
Oh, yeah. Lifeguards for, I'm helping Tawny recruit lifeguards for Prairie Creek. It's a pretty good deal. It's like $100 gift certificate for 3 hours worth of work. So, but yeah, if you know of anyone that wants a lifeguarding gig that day, that'd be great. They have to be certified, obviously, so. Yeah, but we have enough lifeguards for all of our city programs.
Okay.
Excellent.
Friends, right?
Yep, next on the agenda, we got Friends of Prairie Creek.
And Brian, you were gonna come up as well, right? About something?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be very easy because Jackie has stepped down from it and I went ahead and took it.
So you're our new
So I'm
president.
like,
Hey,
I'm going to give it a try.
Condolences, one of the two.
I'm kind of new at it, learning everything, so I need to figure out all the rules and everything for it. And maybe by the next month, on the next meeting, I can meet a lot more of the campers, but I'm kind of one of those hands-on, I'm out on my golf cart talking to everybody, so I get everybody's opinions and what they're wanting to do, but I want to do more kid activities with the kids. I've been here before wanting more kid activities, so I've even been talking with the security today about a little activity we could do at the 4th of July weekend when Ron Bottom Day is going on with the kids at the park. So I want to do more things with the kids and the adults too. So I'm kind of wanting to, you guys will probably hear from me, trying to get ideas and find out what is approved and what's not. But I'd like to have more activities for the older people there and
and what,
cheap and easy too. So I've been talking to a couple of guys that used to go to the AMA that's kind of retired, talking about maybe having a day where we go over to where the air park thing and show them how to do string planes and circle them and stuff. So, and maybe a flying a kite day and just simple little things that might not cost a lot of money, but have a good time with all the kids and the adults too. Even if it's just giving a shout out to all the campers, bring your cornhole games with the golf cart down to the park and let's all get together and have a cornhole game. No money involved, just all get together and let's have a good night, you know, just simple things like that. Trying to cut the negative, because a lot of the park, or when we would go to the meetings, I'm trying to cut the negative. I don't get paid by the park, so
Yeah.
If you have a complaint about your campsite or anything like that, go to the Parks Department or go to Tawny and them at their office and put that complaint in, because telling me about it is not getting a work order made. So I'm trying to defer people to go and utilize the office and
Resources you got.
not go on social media and posting all this. Go to the office first and talk. So I'm trying to have more of a positive outlook on everything this time and not so much negativity, and try to break it down where we can have a great summer. It's a great place out there. It's really a lot of fun if you allow it. So
And what's
Thank
your
you.
name?
Charlene Moore.
Okay.
So,
And will you be managing the Friends of Prairie Creek Facebook page?
Jackie sent me the monitor link over, and I'm trying to figure that all out. There's requests coming in, and so from my understanding at first when that page was made, it was supposed to just be for the campers only, I thought, and there was questions, and then I'm getting friend requests where people's not answering the questions at all, just friend requesting to come on it. So I'm trying to figure out how you do all that. So I may try to get a hold of Jackie here, maybe, or stop by her camper and find out, but
Okay.
I was just kind of giving it time. She's had a lot going on, so
Okay.
I've been just kind of letting everything go. I don't want to bug her while she just got married and other stuff going on. So I just don't know how to defer who to put on that with the friend
You know,
request.
I mean, that's you guys' group, and you guys can decide how to manage how you want, and
Yeah.
certainly independent of us, but we want to be able to network with you and understand your needs. And
Yeah, because at
Question.
first I thought it was kind of to be set up to be just for the campsite and like, camper people to be on that page so we could all communicate together and everything. I just don't want to start getting people to come on air and start putting a bunch of negative stuff and
Yeah.
attacking the page or something. It's just kind of, some of it's not called for, so,
A lot of noise, that's for sure.
yeah. So hopefully we can, might take me a couple months to get in the role of it, but I'm
If you
trying.
need anything else, let us know. And Tawny, I know, is willing to work with you guys as well and on events and some planning and scheduling and getting stuff shared.
Yeah.
Our contacts as well,
Yeah.
so.
So I may be a plain Jane type of coordinator on it, but trying to figure out stuff that's simpler stuff and working with all the other parents there and grandparents. I'm a grandparent. I have 5 grandkids all the time with this. So just trying to get all the kids to kind of
Okay.
do a little bit more fun activities, keep them busy. Like today we were cracking up because George come up missing. And
Yep.
Carly was like, George is missing. And then another person had posted her daughter had found it over the weekend and it was after hours. So George has been found, so he's not missing no more. So the kids really love the Curious George out there to hunt for him and maybe some other activities like that.
Excellent.
The kids love looking for George. Maybe we can have little prizes for the adults to look for on their golf carts even, or just something like that. So trying to come up with some ideas.
So,
Yes, thank you
you.
again.
Thank
and we look forward to continuing to work together. You said we had another one to add under Prairie Creek?
Hi there. So I wanted to give you guys an update with the Delaware County Jeeps. So we had our event last Saturday. So great event. I think I told her 5,000, but we actually raised 45, so I want to make sure that's clear. So we gave the check already out to Vets Service over here across the street. So they was very appreciative. So I think we had around about 100 cars, about 25 vendors. The food trucks, everybody really liked the food selection we had. So a lot of good feedback. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you for the second year. Went off with a bang. So we didn't have any issues. It sounded like everybody enjoyed themselves out there. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks.
Moving on through our agenda here, we got a few old business items. Some of these we've already discussed, but wanted to make sure we talk about if there's any other discussion that needs to be had. TUI security update. I know I'd shared an email with this team, the board here. I think everybody knows there was, I took part in an emergency meeting last week that included the mayor, the YMCA, and the chief of police to address the incident last week. That's where the new times and rules came from. There's a follow-up meeting this week to review that and to see where we go from here. There's security down there is a concern, it's continued to be an issue. and something that we've identified we have to address and have to manage. Is any discussion or thoughts there from the board?
Are we thinking in putting, or do we already have like security on position during open hours? Are we thinking to put security there?
Yeah,
during
so
open hours?
we opened the, opened the season with a security on site. There were some issues working through the contracts and the legal team on getting that solidified. So there was a brief stint that there was not on-site security. The direction was to escalate and contact police in the need of an issue. That's where we got last week. When we had the issues, there was a response time that was involved there. The current procedure is we've got off-duty officers on site during all open hours at this time. And that's something we're going to evaluate and how we move forward and continue with that.
I just think that it needs to be planned for every year, just like you plan for putting chemicals in the pool, water. It just has to be an element that's planned for
Yeah.
thoroughly.
Unfortunately, that's the state we're in now, that we have to account and plan for that. So I think that's part of the discussion this week is how do we move forward through this year? And then what does that look like, both budgeting and scheduling in the coming years?
Yep.
So,
TUI's a great opportunity. It's also a great challenge because of even just the facility. We need to look at maintenance and upkeep and what works, security. And I think the whole team's committed to starting maybe like February next year. So we can have it all teed up and ready to go.
Yep.
And, but everybody pulled together really well at the last minute this year. There's been some bumps, but we've gotten through them, and I think the rest of the summer is going to be, I think, very successful, hopefully. But it is a challenge, and pools are expensive. Chemicals are expensive, the valves, the plumbing, a lot of stuff that people don't realize that we're looking at all of it, so.
any other discussion regarding TUI and the security there?
What did we land on with the cameras for the gentleman that came and presented?
I think he's still here. I know we got a security at Hekin. I guess we can kind of jump right into park security as in general. Roll right into that. So I know we'll shuffle the agenda a little bit here.
Yeah,
Carl, you gotta go, otherwise Nikki will be on top of you, the office
Yeah.
there. She'll be getting you for not talking.
All righty. In regards to security and the cameras, we do have cameras there, able to visualize part of our pool. I think mainly the pool area coming over the fence. So when speaking to Chief Sloan a couple days ago, he had asked about the cameras that we actually have. This is something we can add to what we have that would give us a little more safety piece there at TUI's, so we can see the entire TUI area. And so I do have Sam with Pro Securities here that can speak a little bit about his input and what he done at Hekin for us there. Sam, you want to come up?
Good evening.
Evening.
So it's kind of good timing. Just yesterday, we got the 2 initial cameras at Hekin installed. By a recommendation from our implementations team, we added a 3rd one, kind of as a, I guess, complimentary or freebie to watch the internet line that we got fixed as well. I'm working with Carl and Nate Sloan and the detectives team to get them a view of that long-term as well, so that Carl does not have to help when, I say, incidents occur. Effectively, the detective team and the PD can just go straight to that footage without having to bug Carl and the parks team.
Good.
Unrelated, I have not had an update from Carl. I shared a proposal at TUI for him that I have here on paper as well. I can email it over to Nikki to share to you guys also. It's a think no more than 3 cameras to get full coverage at the Tui pool. We spoke briefly, I think, a few months ago on the virtual guard feature on 2 cameras watching the offices and concession area that was broken into, I think, last year, August. Was not sure if you guys wanted to add that to the pool section or kind of what the new issues were. Was it a mostly in-person fights during the day that was happening, or, okay.
Yes.
Depending on your guys' thoughts, I do have that proposal for the cameras on paper today too, to hand over to you if you'd like it.
Yeah, getting that to Carl and on to Nikki,
Okay.
and then we can distribute it to us is probably the best approach.
That's perfect, okay.
We kind of got 2 different animals we're fighting, right? Is the
understand.
after-hours security
Yeah,
and the on-site security. So I know at least at 2, our short-term plan is that we are going to have on-site security during open hours.
Yep.
okay.
and I-
At least 1 or 2 people in person?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be the forecast, at least for the foreseeable future.
Mhm.
So that
Is there
creates a different layer than,
they have officers there now, or just security that's being staffed?
it's off-duty officers
Okay.
is what we're staffing
Okay.
currently. So that may be something that I think, it sounds like you've already had a dialogue with Chief Sloan. I probably need to continue that and what helps them the
Correct.
most. Obviously, with the on-site police force, we're not as worried video-wise during the day.
Correct.
Unless they need or want that for additional record and history.
True.
So,
Some of the coverage we have planned also gets the 2 playgrounds. I think that's west and north of the pool.
yes.
Carl told me when he and I initially discussed the plan for that one, a lot of the time incidents happen inside the pool, and then if they get ejected, those issues just move across the street.
Yes.
So we've got very detailed coverage of both of those playgrounds and the parking areas as well, just in case it spreads like that again. But it's hard to predict until you kind of have that plan ready. Was it mostly, were you saying people were literally throwing firecrackers from the slide tower?
I think it's a group.
Oh, okay.
I would say.
Gotcha, okay. Understood.
Hopefully we can get that
Okay.
identified, get that going.
That's perfect. I can email you that, the previous 2 we won as well. Send that to you and Nikki again.
That'd be great.
Yep, glad to help. Any big questions I missed on that?
So the system installed at Heakin, is that live now?
Correct, as of yesterday.
Okay.
So we were working with the detectives team. I think we have to work with their IT to effectively get through their theoretical firewall to let the detectives have it open.
Yep.
But we met with them, our implementation specialist, which is a big word. His name is Billy. We have another team member getting trained for that same position named Dave. They'll be in direct contact with the detectives anytime incidents occur, and they got to pull those up.
Okay.
So we're going to get that directly on there. Let's say, like, if they have service, whatever their personal computer at the office or laptops, however viewing form the detectives team would like to have, we can have that set up for them too.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that include the auto locks to the bathroom doors that we talked about, or is that just the cameras?
That's just the cameras at Heakin. We had the previous one for Cooley. I think that was like at least declined for now, maybe next year if the
Okay.
Cooley bathrooms ever get open. That's one common, the access for those bathrooms is a very, I say common, but we do it across the board for a lot of our park bathrooms. It's a very easy, simple way to get those on a schedule so that you don't have to worry about locking them overnight. We did have that at Cooley, but I think it was pushed next year if the budget is approved for that next year. But nothing like that at Heakin yet, unless there's an area you guys are worried about.
So I have a question for you. This may be maybe I should know this, but did we get the parks budget increased by council for this? Did they increase it?
I don't think that's went through yet, has it?
I think I mentioned to Mark, I pulled all this together to take a look at it, look at what we got. I think July is when they start going before council,
For the
start massaging.
26
This is the
budget.
thing for us to really take a real good
Yes.
look at our budget. I think it's really
Yeah.
time that the board and all of us get together. I know Shannon and I talked about it for a couple of years. And, then James, you mentioned it as well regarding being able to have conversation and where the board stands, in terms of, do we have the right amount of, dollars to work with, what we can do maybe to move the deal forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been here for a while, and we definitely had
budget meeting.
budget review to see where we at. So I think it's time.
So
Yeah,
my high
but we-
recommendation to that is to keep pace with what our programs department is doing an amazing, amazing job. And it's attracting more activities, attracting outside elements. And to keep pace with that, it will be wise for us to really make that investment in our parks in general. It's costing us more to have to deal with the unnecessary drama that we have to deal with than to get it, to invest in that security, to keep parallel with all the attraction that's being drawn to us. I think we really need to push that and put that into consideration.
I would agree. I think that we've talked about security a lot, and I think I get the impression everybody here on the board, and I know Carl's in support of that, and we just need to review that and see where that goes. So I made a note here. I know I'll kind of talk to Carl, see where we're at on getting current budget and status and updates, and we can either get that added to our, hopefully our July meeting,
Yeah.
to have a board review of the budget and where we may see gaps and what we can recommend moving forward, and help Carl have some ammunition to go before the administration and council on how we move forward
But
successfully.
policy-wise, we cannot sit together, the five of us and
Right, it's gotta
Carl,
be-
in a private space. We have to,
I think we'll tie that out
conduct
to
it into-
a board meeting, a formal board meeting, or a special meeting, that's
Yeah.
open to the public for that.
Have like a work session where we can talk, but we don't have to.
well, city council does, they do their budget
Yeah,
and, publicly.
Yeah.
I think we also need to have some new budget lines added to the current, like, for security. There isn't really a security line.
yep. That's something we'll have to work with the controller and what fit within the confines of the regulations on that budget, so.
If it helps you, I have the paper printout for the 2E. The existing plan, we initially were trying to cover those offices to prevent another break-in overnight. That can be tinkered with, and we can adjust or remove that as needed to kind of prioritize the pool area. But if the issues aren't overnight, we can almost remove that completely and plan for it in the future if needed.
We haven't seen that this year, but
Okay. We'll hope for the
it's a
best.
moving target, right?
Correct.
So,
Would you like me to leave the paper version with the map
yeah,
for you?
leaving it
Okay.
with Carl's
Okay.
probably the best.
I think he
That way
already
you
has a
get-
paper one, but I can email it to you,
Get back to the
Nikki,
office and
to send
to
to you
Nikki.
guys. That's perfect.
Yep. Excellent.
Thank you
Any
all.
other questions for him?
Thank you, Sam.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have the skate park ribbon cutting ceremony. We talked about that in the superintendent report. Appreciate the board members that could make it out there for that. Sounds like that was a great event. I had another commitment that day, was unable to make it. Any other discussion on the skate park?
It has been busy since, it was busy
Yes.
before that, but it's been busy since it's been open, so.
I need to send a final report to the Community Foundation because they had granted us a grant, $40,000 for some additional features to the
Yep.
park. So I should have that done by our next board meeting, so I'll present it to the board as well.
Close out that grant. Yep.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda, we've got splash pad repairs. I think most or all of those were highlighted in the superintendent report as
Yep.
well. Any questions there? Last item on old business, yet again, we covered in programming, is the summer internship program. Shannon, I don't know if you had anything additional to add to that?
4 more weeks to go, and thank you to all of our partners and assistants.
Is there anything you need from that or any additional partners you're looking for? How would they, anything you need still there? Are we?
No, I think that Nikki and Carl and I and Dee Dee Walker will have a good plan going, with this program in the future, and just, it's growing.
Good.
So,
May you clarify something for me with that? Did we do the application process beginning January this year? Was correct?
yes, January, February,
Did it,
February maybe.
February, actually, interest,
And then at the Walker Center,
yeah, we had 2 initial sign-up.
And did that go well?
Yeah.
That we continue that for the next year?
Yeah, because we had the job building interview skills
yeah.
day was,
And that was a
I
part
think,
of the
same.
I think that was the kickoff maybe of the sign up.
Okay, okay.
We had 140 applicants.
Yeah, in a short period of time there. Moving on to new business. We talked about the security installation at Heakin. Any additional questions there? I know we just covered that. Next new business item, we have Prairie Creek key-coded bathrooms. A lot of tongue tie there. Tawny, I don't know if you've got any update there. I know we discussed that a little bit here on the board. Key codes for the bathrooms. Sorry to make you get up again. Now, you mentioned in your summary there has been some issues there in the bathrooms, both campers and non-campers issues.
We're talking about it a little bit still, how we're gonna manage that. We have a few ideas, but, when we were discussing it, it sounds good until you get down to it, and then distributing numbers, everybody having the same number. How we would change that, how we would manage the weekend people having that. Right now with training everybody and not knowing what staff's gonna look like and how well they're gonna do trying to manage the office right now. It's a lot to just throw on them
Yeah.
already trying to learn a lot. So we are discussing it, but it's gonna take a little bit more planning.
I know we've got Sam here today, so it might be worth you guys connecting and him taking a field trip out there and see what kind of options there may be at the bathroom and the gates there. I know we've got some of the
We've been
cameras we
talking
installed
about
last
maybe
year.
doing, like, kind of like what we already use, instead of doing numbers and going have to set a bunch of numbers and redo them all the time. Thought about doing what we have now with like,
The same fob.
yeah, like a fob or something. So, we've kind of went back and forth, but we are still discussing it. It's definitely something that we think would really help.
Thank you, Tony. The other one on new business, which could also have went under really old business, is the Anthony Park and the equipment there. I know that was part of I believe, a grant or bond or both. I know we've not heard or seen any updates on that for a while, but there's been some motion there recently.
Yes, had a conversation in the mayor's office last week, talking about the reorganization of Anthony. He was part of their ARP monies a couple years ago, and they changed leadership there within the organization, and so things got put on the back burner. Since then, they've reorganized, and they had a meeting with the mayor, and right now, they're currently going to facilitate the old Anthony School on Oakwood there as their park. I also know that we're in the talking stages about how that's going to be implemented in terms of the playground equipment. I do know the playground equipment's been ordered, but the mayor and I haven't moved forward past it being installed. So that part has not been discussed as far as the removal and the install. I think at this point it's just been purchased. I think they being the Anthony School chose the manufacturer that they purchased the playground equipment from. So that's what update that I have at this point. So, and I'm sure in the coming weeks and months we'll be discussing the implementation part, timeline on removal and then install.
Excellent.
Who is the project manager on that?
Contact person was the City of Muncie and Dustin Clark, as I know it.
Do you think it's possible for him, to invite him to come and
Yes.
give us a
Yep,
presentation?
for sure. Yep, I can contact him and get him on the agenda.
Do you have any timeline information on this?
I do not.
Okay,
I was in one meeting,
yeah.
and we just discussed the purchase, that it had been ordered, and that the organization had reorganized themselves, and they were ready to go. And the location was indeed Oakwood, Old Anthony School, and that that particular space, green space.
Yeah, I know that it's not you at all, but as a board meeting member, I don't like the fact that there's been no communication with the Parks Board regarding the project. We haven't seen any drawings. We know nothing about this project. So I just want that to be known publicly.
Well, I think
So-
this one's been in the pipeline for a long time, because this was part of the same monies, I believe, that the Till Pond, when we started that. So it kind of,
Yeah.
it got brought to us and then it kind of faded away and
Correct.
now it's coming back
Yeah.
for,
That was-
sounds like there was
yeah.
some,
3 years ago,
Yeah.
and again, we're down to a design and placement level of the project, and it
Yeah.
just, there should be some communication with us.
Well, that way we don't run into the problems we had at Riverview
yeah.
with swings up by the street.
Correct.
and
Yeah.
All that.
So I'll move on, having him come before and bring some materials and kind of see where we at with timeline, things of that nature. I think that's the right move.
That'd be great.
All right, thank you.
Question, don't judge me. Where is this park located?
Oh, it's on Oakwood there, the old administration school, right, cat corner from north side on Oakwood,
Oh,
the playground there that's existing. That little playground that sits right there in front of the building,
thank you.
that's going to be the,
By the baseball fields there.
yeah.
So this would be when Till Pond is created, and that's up and running, which is supposed to be in 2026. That Till Pond will be our 33rd park, and then Anthony will be our 34th park.
Correct.
Sounds right.
So that's why we got to review the budget,
Yeah.
staffing
We have
and
to.
dollars and all that good stuff.
I don't know if we added Mitchell there too, if that was in the original numbers either. So that might be 35 now.
Is that us? And that YMCA's thing?
No, not Mitchell.
Store.
Store,
Yeah.
yeah.
Store, yeah.
Store
Yeah.
park.
I don't know if that one's in the count, so I think we might be up to 35.
Well, you know.
Any other questions for Carl? All right,
Thank you.
next on the agenda, we've got any action items from the board?
I have one. In that meeting we had, to add the water company to the agenda for July for follow-up.
Okay, yep,
Zoom call, yeah.
yep. So we'll have some follow-up. I think everybody remember the water company was here last month, and we need to follow up and discuss some of that here come July. So,
Are there meetings outside of here for that before July?
I think the
Because the mayor said we could be involved in those meetings.
I think the mayor's talked to the water company some. I don't know all the details there, or where that's gonna go, or what the feedback is. So the presentation they had, I think, was the first formal response, and then I don't know what's gonna be next there. Any other action items or events from the public? See a few names, and I see a poster board out there, so I assume we got some public comment.
Yes. I'm speaking to the mic?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
or at least add it, close to it.
Okay. My name is Dave Herbert. I'm with ARC Muncie, and what we do is outreach to people without homes. We provide water, we remove trash from camps. And one tool that we've created with the help of Kyle from Emergency Management is a map of services. Some Muncie area service providers. I think there's two of them, so be careful. So this allows people to be more self-reliant, more independent, understand what services are available to them, and so we don't have to do as much hand-holding, tell everyone where to go, they don't have to rely on us. They can see these maps. Our goal is also, the handheld version, put them in every hand of anyone who is experiencing homelessness. So our goal is to get these maps distributed to as many locations as possible, you know, appropriate locations, but I would love to cover the city with them, so that everyone has access to them. You know, we'll be talking to libraries and of course, all the service providers, you know, the missions and the soup kitchen and places like that. So if parks had any place that it would be appropriate or helpful to the community to host something like this, we would love to know. You know, just like in a state park, you know, they have the little glass case, you know, with the trail maps. This is like an urban trail map for folks that are homeless.
Excellent.
So just have that consideration, and we're ARC Muncie, and so anyone can find us on Facebook and around the community. So there's a bus map, and along the side, the key is like, oh, you need clothes. Here's the locations, the locations, the phone numbers, the hours, and you can find all the resources you could need for basic survival.
Now, you working with the groups and the individuals out there, and maybe we don't need to discuss it in the meeting. Are there areas or places you feel like these would be best installed in parks, or that we could help you get these published?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, well, places like Murray Hunt Library, and I don't know if Parks owns the park right next to the library,
Yeah.
but, you know, that would be a location. Rotary Park would be a location, you know, just different places around town that there's general public that
That would be a good resource.
need access to this.
I
So,
will say that we do get a lot of individuals in our parks, and they park in up on our shelters,
Right.
and they also park in the parks themselves, wherever they can, with some type of can tent or just a cantaloupe or whatever. And for whatever reason, they're down there a lot.
Yep.
Sometimes we have conversations, sometimes we call dispatch to try to help us get them in a better place. And then other times, the police has to get involved and kind of remove them from, because you know what?
Yeah.
Kids coming out of daycare, they can't kind of use the shelter, they can't get the shelter,
Yeah.
because someone's parked. Leave the shelter, park in there all
Yeah.
night, things of that nature, so.
Yeah, well, I think that's something we can certainly think about as a board. And Carl, if you've got some ideas, I know having the bus routes, a lot of our parks do have bus shelters. Seems like a great place to be. I know you're a pretty handy guy. I think we could probably come up with some kind of signage or some kind of, like you said, the state park huts. Obviously needs to be within our sign requirements and kind of fit the city standard. But it looks like you've got a nice product there that I think helps some
yeah,
of these.
Kyle gave us the
GIS.
PDF, so it can be any size and any format. You know, you can get inexpensive aluminum, you could get cheap paper, you know, it's probably get a paper one for $5, aluminum for $100. These kind of PVC material, waterproof, like $35.
Okay.
So there's options, and I would just love to get information out there.
More of them out.
Accessible for everybody. There's people that come in from out of town with expectations of staying with family. Things fall apart for them, and they have no clue what's going on in Muncie, no phone, you know, so they can't find the services.
Yeah.
But this posted around in public places,
Right.
you know, I mean, Cannon Commons and any of the local parks.
Yeah. Some of my colleagues in urban planning, in the School of Architecture, maybe, or College of is it College of Architecture? Anyway, we may be able, why don't I give you my card? And that might be a very neat field experience for an architecture student to kind of determine those areas around town that would be best.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean,
And
you know, we
find
never
out
know
the
exact-
guidelines, so, you know, that are required.
Yeah.
with
You know,
those
like you were saying,
particular
there's moving targets. You know, there's people everywhere, all of the parks. You know, so the more places I could get these posted, you know, the more empowerment there is for people to be self-reliant
Right.
and the information to get out there.
Excellent.
So, thank you for.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other names on the list there, Carl?
That was David.
Yep, that was David.
David.
Any other names? A few new faces in the crowd. Anybody else?
Is there a young man, I think there's a young man that, I spoke with, represented today, the one to come up.
Perfect.
Have a comment. Safety name.
Yep, name first and then,
I'm William Shaler. I'm 13 years old. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the Parks Board, my name is William Shaler. I'm 13 years old and I started skateboarding during COVID. Over the past 5 years, I've skated parks all over Indiana and even out in Arizona. I just wanted to thank everyone who has had a part in building this amazing skate park because it gives me a place to hang out with my friends and get better at skateboarding. I am so grateful that Muncie finally has one, and I am stoked to have this available to all the skaters who have been wanting one for so long. Thank you for this. I am grateful.
All right, dude.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. And, I think your, words are not only yours, but a lot of the skaters out there. So thank you very much. Anything else from the board or the public? Thank you for all coming tonight. And if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.